Of course, I'm watching Keith Thurman Fondora. And look, I low-key think Fondora gonna stop him. Yeah,
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
you don't think Fondora just gonna?
What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, my fault. Hey, what's good with y'all boys? It's your boy Jay. I am. And I want to get into this Keith Thurman Sebastian Fundora fight. You seen the little intro, man. That's how I'm thinking the fight probably gonna end up, man. I got Fondora for the stoppage. And it's hurting me to say that, bro, because Keith Thurman is one of the fighters in his whole class. I can really sit there and say, like, I watched their whole careers. Like, I grew up watching them, right? Of course, I seen, like, Shane Mosley, Floyd, Cotto's, and, right? But when Floyd won his first title, it was in 1996. I was born in 96, so it's a lot of stages in his career that I just didn't get to see because I was too young or wasn't even born yet. But Keith Thurman, I remember prime Keith Thurman. I remember Keith Thurman, when he was chasing Floyd. I remember Keith Thurman when he, was the man at 47 and wouldn't give Spence a shot. So up until now, and it's kind of cool to see where they are now and him finna fight Fondora, one of the next guys up, bro. And I'm just thinking that Keith, at the stage in his career where a lot of champions get to, right, you stick around long enough, Keith Thurman one of the last ones left. Errol Spence look like he done, you know what I'm saying? Danny got a farewell fight coming up. Kell Brook is gone. Sean Porter's retired. Keith one of the last ones left. And, at his age, I think it's his turn to be used for food for the young guys, bro. Like Sebastian Fundora, the young, hungry guys who just, they next. Keith Thurman not next no more. He was. Fondora's now. I think Keith Thurman's gonna be food for Fondora, right? He ain't no vegetables, right? He's still steak, tough meat. You gotta use your knife and chew your food. He going out kicking and screaming and all that. He ain't no lightweight, but he food all the same, I think. And it's a tough ass for him, bro. Because one thing about Keith Thurman, we've seen Keith Thurman uncomfortable a lot at 47, right? We seen the older Pacquiao kind of have his way with him, even though I do think that was a very close fight, closer than what a lot of people give credit for. But older Pacquiao, nonetheless, Pacquiao was able to give him problems, right? Josecito Lopez hurt him with the body shots, had him moving all over the ring, spinning out his mouthpiece, and Mario Barrios hurt him with a body shot. We've seen him hurt and uncomfortable a lot at 47. So how much more uncomfortable he gonna be fighting a guy who's 6'6", 154 pounds, southpaw that can punch and got a chin? That's Mr. Uncomfortable right there. Like, it's gonna be, even without the intangibles that he got, that's a tough fight. And Fondora a dog. He a dog, and his fights get violent, they brutal. He don't play. That second Tim Tszyu fight that he had, man, a guy asked him in his press conference, what did he see in there that made him go for it, for the knockout against Tszyu in the second fight? And he said, man, I just seen he didn't want to get hit. He just seen Tim Tszyu didn't want to get hit and went out there and walked through every bomb Tim Tszyu threw. And Tim Tszyu threw some bombs, right? Walked right through it and closed the show on him. So Fondora a dog. You could say, I don't know how y'all feel about Fondora. I've seen people call him a weight bully, this or that, but I'm high on him. And bro, a dog mentally, he really gonna get to it. It's just a lot for Keith Thurman at this stage in his career. I don't know if he has what it takes to go 12 rounds, which maybe he can hurt Fondora. But if he don't hurt Fondora, which is not a guarantee, it's very possible, it's gonna be a long day for him, man. And I don't know if he has the punch resistance or the legs at this age to be able to get that done. Because look, prime Keith Thurman, he has all the physical ability to win this fight. He has great feet, explosive. He can jump in and out, and he can give angles. And I still think he can do that to a degree now, but I don't know if he can do it for 12 rounds and still maintain his punch resistance against a guy like Fondora. And one thing I can say about Keith Thurman, despite all his layoffs, his injuries, whenever he's able to make it to the ring and fight, he looks good. I've never seen a Keith Thurman fight where I was like, man, he looked shot. He looks terrible. He looks, even in his last fight against the, I don't want to call him a nobody because, he was somebody to somebody, but against Buddy from Australia, he looked good and got the stoppage, but, that was against him. He wasn't really lesser opponent. But I wish Keith Thurman and Tim Tszyu could have fought before one of them fought, and the winner of that fight would have got Fondora instead of Tim Tszyu jumping. Because he fought a nobody in Australia too. I think it was an American though. Joey Spencer. He fought Joey Spencer right after his Bachram loss, and then got a little easy W, and then jumped right in there with Fondora. I wish they could have fought each other first, him and Keith Thurman, and the winner would have got Fondora. I think they would have been in a better position. But Keith Thurman, man, whenever he gets in the ring, he looks good. He looks sharp. He always looks on point. But does he have what it takes now? And that's the big question. And Keith is a smart fighter. He does have an IQ. I ain't going to hold that against him. But I don't know if he has the IQ to, say, like a Floyd Mayweather, to slow the pace down, to make the guy gun shy, right, to make Fondoras, especially somebody like Fondora, make them stop coming. Pause. To be able to slow him down, slow his pace down, because Keith Thurman kind of fight at a crazy pace anyway. At least young Keith Thurman does, but he fights so unoften. I don't even think that's a word, but he doesn't fight so much that it's hard to think, to have a reference of what we're going to be, what we can expect from Keith, because he don't fight that much. But whenever Keith comes in and makes it to the ring, he fight, and he fight hard. And, he has that mentality. Like, to his credit, all them times he got hurt to the body, all them times he's been uncomfortable, he's been able to push through it and come out victorious, other than the Pacquiao fight, right? Them body shots, he did everything but drop. He spit his mouthpiece out, he moved, ran around the ring, but he survived it and came out victorious in the end. So he got that mindset of a warrior, man, and he's meeting another guy with that mindset of a warrior with Fondora, man. I think the youth, that Fondora, and the length and the punches, and it's just a lot to deal with. I think he has enough to overcome the IQ that Keith Thurman does have, right? Because I think Keith Thurman's probably the superior fighter, but I don't know if he's just at that age now, man. And Fondora is getting better. He's using his length more, working on his jab more. We see him working on his jab, long left hand. And, don't get me wrong, he'll probably never be a master class boxer, right, with the jab and all that. But what that does do is that'll make whoever he's fighting, like Keith Thurman, they'll have to judge their distance more, right? They can't just walk in and bang with him. You got to, watch out for the jab, watch out for the long left hand, give him, little angles. You can't just come straight in. You got to work in. And that's going to tire you out mentally and physically. And then once you get on the inside where you want to be, where you need to be, hell, that's where you want to be in a way, right? Go watch Fondora and Lubin, or any Sebastian Fundora fight, bro. Get busy on the inside. That's how he started. He just not starting to work the jab. So you work all that and you get to where you want to be, and that's what that's what Fondora want to be. So you still gonna have a tough time in there. And it's a lot, man. If Fondora can catch Keith right once he does close the distance, even if he don't, get him from range, if he catches him when he's in range, close distance, and catch him coming out, I think he has enough power and enough output that he can break down Keith Thurman, maybe kind of early. Kind of like how Benavidez broke down Andre, right? Andre looked like he was going to box circles around him until like round 3 or 4. Then he started looking a little bit fatigued. He got broke down early in that fight off the power, off the size. And Benavidez start to, I'm about to say express himself, but he show his dominance physically. I think that could be somewhat similar to that, man. I think Fondora is going to probably start breaking Keith Thurman down. We're going to see Keith Thurman probably get a little bit uncomfortable and maybe a little bit confused on how to close the distance, because it's just nigga uppercuts and whatever just flying all around him from different ranges. He got to watch coming in, watch when he's in range, and get out safely. And prime Keith Thurman can do that, but I don't know if he can do that now and still take some punishment and still be able to hold up for 12 rounds, man. But anyway, that's how I see the fight going. I got Fondora for the stoppage. It should be a great event, man. But these are the type of fights we need to be supporting, right? Not that other BS. And I ain't even going to mention it. Y'all already know what I'm talking about. But Keith Thurman is daring to be great, so salute to Keith Thurman. This is how you dare to be great, man, by former 2-time welterweight champion, trying his luck at 54 against, you know, one of the guys. Fondora was a unified champ, so he low-key like the number one guy. Not the best guy, but he low-key like the number one guy at 54. So shout out to Keith Thurman for daring to be great. And you know, he's standing on what his words he used to say back in the day. Look, I got an old name, afraid to let it go. If you can beat me, beat me. And he's standing on that. He gonna go out there and put his best foot forward, I think. And man, hopefully it turned out in his favor. And I'm just all wrong, because like I said, I love Keith Thurman. I like Fondora too. He seemed like good people, but Keith Thurman, man, is good for boxing. But at his age, right, the ponytail gone, ponytail like there though, both. So you know, how much juice does he got left? We'll see, man. But I appreciate y'all for checking in the video, man. If y'all made it to this point, shoot me a like. If you seen the other video and you like this video and you like what I'm doing, man, subscribe, bro. And I appreciate it. And we gonna do more fights. We're gonna be going up, discussing more fights and getting into it. I think next I'm gonna do Stephen Fulton and O'Shaquie Foster, which that fight, I'm gonna have to watch some more of their previous fights more, because I don't know how that's gonna go, to be honest with you. But you know, we'll get into that when we get in that. Appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all boys next time, man. Peace.